specifically for village and city officials. So if anybody's interested, please let me know. I'd like to attend and get an idea of the nature of the crime lab. I also wanted to mention that, I mentioned that we had 2 major crimes task force call-outs. We're members of the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force, which predominantly investigates murders and kidnappings. A lot of towns like ourselves wouldn't have all the resources required to investigate a murder should we ever have one here. So towns all get together and they help each other investigate. They get a lot of experienced investigators and evidence technicians. We've actually been paying, I believe it's $3,000 a year to be a member of the task force. I recently assigned Detective Brian Ernst to the task force as an evidence technician. And he's had some specific training, he'll get some more training. Instead of paying $3,000 a year, now this year we pay $500 because we actually have a member. And of course, right after I sent him, immediately there's a murder in North Chicago and there was a murder in Zion. So right away, the first 2 weeks he was on the task force, he went on a couple of calls. But being an evidence technician, I don't lose him as long as I would. For as long a period of time as I would if I were sending an investigator. Investigators can be gone weeks at a time. The evidence work is usually done in a day or 2, so it was not very long. And I think it's a great experience. He brings back a lot of valuable experience and training for the other officers. So it's saving us some money, although we'll pay a little extra overtime, but overall it's saving us money. And I think it'll be a value to the police department of the village. That's all.
We have no police department, we have a fire department report. The well report. Russ, would you explain this?
Explain what?
It's down, or should be down?
Yeah, that's what it is. Swanson took 2 readings on it. He said he fixed the 2 lines that were bad, so I guess the water just isn't, people are using it faster than it's being replenished.
Is that typical for the numbers?
It always goes down.
Yeah.
Right, but is the numbers this year, how does it compare to last year?
No, we're actually still ahead of the game. We've been good the last 3 years. It was 3 years ago, we had to go on watch, put up the well signs and stuff. I think it was at the end of July, so as long as we keep getting our rainfalls, I think we'll stay pretty steady.
Russ, let me make a confession. I'm not sure I understand how to interpret. There's the well depth, the pump set depth, and then there's the measured water level. Right. How do I understand those 3 things?
Your water.
That is the water is the. Let's take the first one, well number 1, and in July it measured 115 feet. The pump level is at 170 feet. Does that mean there's 55 feet of water above the pump location? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
But I've already told him he will have this the first of the month, and he says, I think starting in August, I'm going to go 2 times a month to get the whole things. But I think usually that's the bad month that we're going to have a bad time.
Okay, as far as water comparison, again, at this point, we're $188,000 ahead. And what we would have been if we stayed with the different water.
Is that something you'd like me to point out to the Chamber of Commerce meeting in Deerfield?
No, sure. It's very interesting. From what I understand, they have not raised our rate, whereas if we were buying it from them, they would have raised our rate.
No, it's academic.
Because we're not buying that much water from them. so-
That way they don't show as great a loss of income.
I did take a look. We are still using just a trickle here and there. You know, less than 1% of our monthly water is still coming from Deerfield, so
Why do we have that?
it's just occasional spikes in usage.
From Rusty?
Well, we want to keep that. I mean, when we do have the dry
Yeah,
spell,
right.
we like to keep that there. Using just a little bit every month, I think, you know.
If something happens to the Northbrook water supply, we also have, we have another supply.
It's really kind of ideal. We don't have
We're
direct.
in a deal situation.
It's,
That is.
And I told Harriet, you may have, Deerfield, that we talked to her the next couple of years.
You know, could I ask a question about old business? I guess I should have brought this up earlier. There was a, what do you call it, an SSA meeting for Hiawatha. Isn't that the right term, SSA? And we postponed reviewing the minutes for that because it wasn't on the agenda. And I thought we were gonna do that tonight.
I forgot.
Okay, well, I don't think we're losing anything, it's not urgent, is it? Okay.
Nancy, would you make sure that Cheryl puts it on the agenda for the next meeting, that we have to review those minutes? And make sure that everybody gets another copy of those minutes? Because that's always remind away. Okay, thank you for reminding me of that. An ordinance amendment ordinance 09-1-1 to correct chapter and section number. Have a motion, sir? So first reading.
Second.
All in favor of waiving first reading?
Aye.
Have a motion for second reading and adoption.
Second.
Bruce? Pretty self-explanatory.
I don't have any comment.
We're changing numbers, we're correcting numbers.
We're correcting them. We had chapter 3 already in that title, and so I'm just moving everything back to chapter 4. Sterling had already automatically corrected it online, so nothing will change online both ways displayed.
I need a roll call vote, please.
Holmgren.
Aye.
Masterson.
Aye.
Potter.
Aye.
Chamberlain.
Aye.
Creditor. Aye. Haver.
Aye.
6-0. And it's ordinance 09-7-14.
Is there a question or is that the number?
That's the number.
Okay. Waive first reading? Motion to waive first reading of an ordinance amending the Riverwood Development Ordinance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I have a motion for second reading and adoption of an ordinance amending the Riverwood Development Ordinance.
Second.
Briefly, when we were talking about fences, I was asked, how do we regulate fences? Where does it say it requires a permit? The language in the development ordinance says that to erect any building or structure requires a permit. When you look for the definition of structure, it was in the zoning ordinance, and it wasn't clear that all of those, at least the definitions we needed, had been incorporated into, from the zoning ordinance to the building code and the development ordinance. I tried not to get complicated with everything. I knew that these were at least the two terms that we should have there. We could do a further review later, but just these for purposes of clarification. I thought this would be a very quick fix to simply say that when we use the word building or we use the word structure in the development ordinance, when we are issuing building permits or site development permits, we're using terms with the same definitions as we have in the zoning ordinance.
Any more discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Holmgren.
Aye.
Masterson.
Aye.
Potter.
Aye.
Chamberlain.
Aye.
Creditor.
Aye.
Haver.
Aye.
It's 09-7-15.
We would like a referral to the plan commission to hold hearing on moratorium on the zoning ordinance to prohibit windmills, wind turbines, and similar devices pending text amendments to zoning ordinance.
Well, Jack and I were having a discussion on this. There's at least two ways to do it. One is to enact a moratorium. The courts have sometimes viewed a moratorium as essentially an amendment to the zoning ordinance. Another way for us to handle it is to refer to the plan commission and simply say for an amendment to the zoning ordinance. And the purpose of it would be to clarify that wind turbines or windmills are not permitted